What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I will be reviewing a beer from the Guinness Open Gate Brewery and Barrel House, and they're out of Halethorpe, Maryland, and this is their barrel-aged stock ale. So this is a blend of an Imperial Stout and English Barleywine, both of which were aged in Bulleit bourbon barrels. Comes in at 10% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. I don't know exactly how old this bottle is, but this is a relatively new release, so I would imagine this is at the oldest 1 month old, and I think it's a bit fresher than that. So last year I reviewed their stout aged in Bulleit bourbon barrels, and it was pretty good. Bit thin, but pretty good. And when I saw this one, I was like, I have to give it a go. So on the back here, it says this stock ale is a blend of an Imperial Stout and a Barleywine ale, both aged in a Bulleit bourbon barrels, and talks about a little bit of, tasting notes and whatnot. So yeah, when I saw this one, I was like, it's go time. I really liked the Stout aged in bourbon barrels, or Bulleit bourbon barrels, and this one, is a blend of, an English Barleywine, which I really like, and Imperial Stout, which I obviously really like as well. So we'll see how this one is, and I'll just throw the cap like a moron because I don't know what I'm doing. Never do. Let's give it a pour. Ooh, so that's looking really nice in the glass. So yeah, that poured out like more of like a deep mahogany color. In the glass, it looks like fucking basically caramel. It looks fantastic in glass. Has about a finger of a I'm gonna say like a khaki colored into almost like more of a light brown. Really nice, creamy looking. Looks fantastic. Looks like an awesome beer. Let's get a nose. Oh yeah, that smells dynamite actually. Absolutely tons of dark fruit, plums, dark cherry, figs, dates. Has a big English barley wine influence to it. Oh, nice, basically vanilla, slight oak tannin. Definitely get the bourbon as well, the spirit itself. Some nice chocolate and roasted malt character. A touch of coffee, molasses as well. This is very complex in the nose, and it's making my mouth water. This smells like a melted down Werther's Original, but with more complexity. Like it has candied vibes, but it doesn't still smell like super sweet and like sugar. It smells like a very decadent, deep, rich kind of beer. Wow, that smells fucking awesome, actually. I want to get into it, so cheers, everybody. That's really nice. Really, really nice. Now this one, as the kids would say, bit hot. It's a bit of booze here. 10%, you kind of expect that, but this does have a little bit more of like an alcohol stringency on the palate. More so than their stout last year that I had. It's not like, too concerning for me, and I think you age this one a little bit, that will kind of go away. But up front, it's definitely a little bit boozy. The flavors are so nice. Let's talk about the body first. Is this thin at 10%? Yeah, a little bit thin. Kind of like the stout last year, a little bit thin. Say this is higher side of medium, lower side of full. So again, a bit thin at 10%, but it's usually not a huge stickler for me when it comes to beers in general. But in this case, I would like to see a little bit bigger. The mouthfeel has carbonation, but it's a lighter carbonation, like low to moderate carbonation. Has a nice smoothness to it. Body and mouthfeel are fine. The taste, though, I really like it. A bit muted from the nose, not as complex as the nose, but caramel, toffee, burnt sugar, caramelized sugar, and that's right up front. Pass through the palate, the dark fruits kind of seep in. Not as much of that dark cherry I was getting, but more like a figgy date, kind of almost raisin-esque kind of dark fruit, and that kind of intertwines with the barrel presence as well. Getting vanilla, oak tannin, touch of the bourbon itself. So it's still complex, but it's like a muted complexity. It's like dialed back from the nose. The nose was just like, wow, this is gonna be super sweet. Not super sweet, but like a really rich and decadent beer. And it still is, but it's just dialed back like 25, 30% from the nose. It finishes well, we don't say semi-dry, slightly dry. There is some residual sweetness on the back of the palate. This has a very low bitterness. And again, I'm kind of hit with like an alcohol stringency on the back of the palate too. And it kind of enhances the dryness a little bit. Underlying roasted malts and like chocolate notes to this one. I feel like The blend here leaning a little bit more towards the English barley wine side of things than the stout. I just got like a little touch of like roasted coffee as well. The nose was phenomenal in this one. The taste is not as good as the nose, at least in my opinion, but it's still a really good beer. I think if you let this sit for 6 months, a year, maybe even a couple years, this is going to probably evolve into something I think that might be dynamite. As is, it's really nice. It's pretty easy to drink, and I really like the flavors here. The only negatives this one is that the taste is a little bit, you know, it's muted from the nose, which was awesome. And you get that alcohol stress, although as my palate and my palate in general is acclimating to the alcohol booziness, it's kind of dying out a bit. But like that first shock of the boozy, like, you know, just barrel kind of was like, whoa, what the hell just happened? So as I continue to drink it, this drink's more like 8-9% is 10, but it still has a booziness to it that I think will die out with some age. As is, the barrel-aged stock ale from Guinness Open Gate Brewery and Barrel House. I'm gonna go low 4.25 out of 5. I'm gonna go 4.2 out of 5. I think it deserves it. I think this would be in the 4 or 5 range for me personally if that booze was kind of knocked down and the complexity carried over to the taste. As is, if you can get your hands on this, and again, I don't know the availability of this one, so we'll go right to availability, price and availability. The availability of this one, I don't know. I don't know how much, you know, how many beers they're releasing from the Open Gate in Maryland. I don't know if they're doing other beers. The only ones that we have seen in our area was the Stout aged in Bulleit bourbon barrels last year, and then this one. Outside of that, I don't know if they're getting distribution on anything else, if it's just, you know, the barrel aged beers. But if you see Guinness, you probably should see this in your area. I think this would make it to most places, I would hope anyway. And the price point of this one, $20 a 4-pack. 10% stock ale aged in Bulleit bourbon barrels for $5 for, I think this is a 12-ounce bottle, right? No, 11.2 fluid ounce bottle. That's fine. I mean, that's kind of the going rate. So, you know, $5 for that. Yeah, I'd pay that again. Definitely pay to try it at least once, which I did. But I might go buy a bottle or two of this if they still have it on the shelves and just age them and see how they go, because I think this one might turn into something a little bit more intense and impactful and just more delicious, dare I say, than this one. But at the end of the day, 4.2 out of 5 for this one, I think is a pretty good score. If you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it, because I'd be curious to know what people think about this one. I like this one better than the Stout aged Bulleit bourbon barrels last year. I think this is more in my wheelhouse. I like the old ale, you know, barley wine kind of influence this one has. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. So appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.